Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new around here, I do a lot of homeschooling stuff and I also share snippets of my everyday mom life from time to time. Today's video is a very interesting one, especially if you're homeschooling like us. And this is in collaboration with Cairo Taiki. I have a surprise for you guys, so please watch the video until the end. Okay, today I'm going to share with you our homeschool curriculum for Philippine history for grade 5 for this school year 2022 to 23. We will start our new year next month in August. We are independent homeschoolers, and for those of you who don't know, that basically means the parent or the primary teacher is the one who does everything, who decides on everything. Well, um, not not decides on everything solely, because for us, I consult my son if he wants to learn this or tackle this lesson, or what lessons that what subjects he wants to study. So for Philippine history, for grade 4, what I did was I got a locally published book. It's not in the market anymore. It's an old book, and we just went through that. And then before halfway through, I was already thinking what we're going to do in grade 5 Phil Hist. Because in school, I think a lot of you can relate to this. What we did was we studied everything from beginning up to the present of our history throughout all of the grades and until high school, until college. I started with Civica in kinder, and then moved on to I think it was Civica at Cultura until grade 6, and then Philippine history. And then in college again, there's Philippine history again. But I was taught the same things over and over and over again. And it was quite boring. And all we did was memorize facts, right? We memorized dates, we memorized names of people, places, events. But what did we really learn? I was asking that question to myself. What did I really learn in Philippine history? I love history, by the way. It's one of my favorite subjects. It's one of my strongest subjects when I was studying. I love reading about it. I love studying it. But I didn't like memorizing facts because, what's the use of those facts? Like, do we need to know Rizal's pen name when we open a bank account? Or do we use the knowledge of having memorized all of the capitals of the provinces in the Philippines in our everyday life? Are our children gonna be better students, better citizens of this country if they know all of the important dates in our history by heart? I think not. So for grade 5, I wanted to do something different. I wanted my child to learn about our history, but I didn't want him to just memorize facts. I want to delve deeper into some of the events some of the people in history that have impacted our lives, that have brought us to where we are now. And so I researched, I asked around, and fortunately, one of my friends, who is also a member of our Facebook group, Homeschool Resources Philippines, sent me a list of the books that she uses with her own kids. And from that list, I made our own homeschool curriculum for Phil Hist. And this is the result of that. So I'm going to share with you all of the books that we are going to tackle in grade 5 Phil Hist. First book is this First Around the Globe, the story of Enrique. Enrique is the slave of Magellan. And some historians are arguing and believing that he is actually, in fact, the first man around the globe and not Magellan, because Magellan died in Cebu. So, it's this book made me very happy. Oh, by the way, I read all of these. I had a crash course in history for 3 days. I just read them, and then I made our lesson plan based on them. So I did all of the activities. I typed all of the activities, excuse me, and all of the questions that I will be asking my child as we go through each book. So, yeah. This book has made me very happy and very proud, because if it turns out that Enrique is the first man around the globe, then that's Filipino pride, right? Filipino was the first man to go around the globe. And I know that my child will also enjoy this book. And then the second is Si Diwayen, noong bago dumating ang mga Espanyol. I highly recommend this Si series of Adarna, because they are written from the perspective of a child who is living in that period. And I think children will be able to relate, children will be able to understand the living situations better, the current situations during those times better, because of these books. Okay, so it's basically just Diwayen living in pre-Spanish period in the Philippines. And then we go to Segunda, si Segunda, and she lives in the Spanish regime. And then we also are going to tackle the Great Live series. If you're not familiar, these Great Live series are from Tahanan Publishers, Tahanan Publishing, and they tell the story of these great lives. And it's such a wonderful read, especially if you're a history buff like me. It's such a wonderful read, and I highly recommend this series, because I've learned a lot from it, and I know my son will learn a lot from it. And also, it has shown me, like, our hero as a common tao, as a normal person, that they did this when they were younger, or they liked this, they didn't like that, and how they acted, what kind of friends they had, what kind of company they had, where they went. It's such an interesting read, and it's such an easy read, by the way. You can finish one book in 1 day. Well, it depends on your child's attention span and their reading speed, but you can probably finish this in 1 or 2 sessions, 1 or 2 lessons, Phil Hist lessons. So this first book is Mother Ignacia. This isn't, for me, this isn't really like required reading for Philippine history, but it's good. It's a good read. It's a good book, especially if you have girls in your house, because it tells the story of Mother Ignacia's courage and her determination, and if she set her mind to something, she will do it, and that sort of thing. It can inspire young girls. So I'm not you're not required to have this in your own curriculum, but I recommend it if you find it. And then the next one is Gabriella Silang. So we go to Generala. This is such a wonderful, wonderful read, especially if you have girls again in your house. Please, if you're going to buy 1 or 2 books from the series, I highly recommend this one. And Teodora Alonso, Rizal's mom. These 2 books are very inspiring. This inspired me to be a better mom. And then of course Jose Rizal. I've learned I'm not Team Rizal, I'm Team Bonifacio. But after reading these books about these books about Rizal, I'm kind of liking him more now. So you learn a lot of things from this book which were not taught to us in school. And then the next one is this Sino, Bayani, Jose Rizal. This is a very easy read because it's like a comic book, magazine type kind of book, and there are a lot of interesting facts. Some of them have the same information, but one book is different from another book in that one might contain more information about an aspect of the hero's life. And then this one, ang ambisyosong stethoscope, is the story of Rizal's stethoscope. And it's a good fun read that's appropriate for even younger children. And then Rizaldi is a story about this child who is named after Rizal. And then at first he didn't like his name because he was always bullied because of it. And eventually when he learned about Jose Rizal, he became proud of it. So if you have kids who are named after somebody and they hate their name, maybe this will change their mind. And then, of course, Supremo, you have to, when you're learning Philippine history, the Supremo has to be there. And then, Ngumiti si Andoy is a story about, it's a story that includes the Supremo, but it's fiction. So again, it's another fun book to read, especially if you have little kids. And then, Dalawang Bayani ng Bansa. This is a highly recommended book because if you're Team Rizal or Team Bonifacio, it will give you their similarities and differences. It's a compare and contrast book. And actually, one of the activities that we are going to do with this after reading this book is a Venn diagram, so that my son will be able to clearly see their similarities and differences. Yan, What Kids Should Know About Andres and the Katipunan has a lot of interesting snippets about the Katipunan. So I highly recommend this book also. And then we move on to the Luna Brothers. You know, what I like about the Great Life series is we get to know these people better. And then we can also think about we can think if they're really worthy to be called heroes. Are they worth emulating after reading their life story? Are they good role models for our children? And I was able to come up with thought-provoking questions for my child. And I'm very thankful that Tahanan has made this series of books because it's a new way of learning history, and it was wonderful. I had a wonderful 3 days reading them. It was hard for my ADHD brain, but I just plowed through all of the books, and then when I finished, I was like, oh man. I'm even speechless because I'm a history buff. And so we move on to Apolinario Mabini, and you know, he is always painted or portrayed as somebody who's paralyzed, who's always sitting in his chair, in his wheelchair. But for most of his life, he was actually walking. He was healthy. Not really healthy because he was a sickly child, but he was walking. He was on his feet. So why are we not showing Mabini as that strong lawyer who's walking, who's standing up, and not always just dwelling on this photo of him who is always sitting down like he's weak, because he's not weak. And then Emilio Aguinaldo. I have questions about this guy. Well, mainly because I am Team Bonifacio, right? And then Bandila, the story of the Philippine flag, also a must read, so that because children, when it comes to the Philippine flag, they just know what the colors mean, what the stars mean, what the sun means, right, and the race, but they don't know the history of the flag. What happened? Why was our flag made, right? And where was our flag based on? So this is a good read. And then moving on to after the Spanish colonization, Manuel Quezon, we're moving on to the American and Japanese occupation. Marvina's League of Superheroes was a surprising book for me because I highly recommend it if you have kids who are into superheroes. I was actually teary-eyed after reading this book. I'm like that. Mababaw yung luha ko for history. I had many teary-eyed days while reading these books. So anyway, I highly recommend this because it takes a look at our heroes from a different perspective. And it's a fun read, it's an easy read. You can read this to even younger children. So include this, please include this. And then we have si Juanito noong panahon ng mga Amerikano. And the illustrations are not, I'm not a huge fan of the illustration, but it's an okay read to let kids know about the life during the American occupation. And then si Pitong noong panahon ng mga Hapon, it's quite similar. And then we have si Junjun noong bago ideklara ang Batas Militar. I recommend this also. Kids need to read about this. And then we have Ito ang Diktadura. It informs kids about what dictatorship is and what dictators do. I highly recommend this book so that, especially if you have kids who are being bullied, so that they will learn how to stand up for themselves, and so that they will be aware that these things happen. There are people like these, but you have to stand up for yourself. So I highly recommend this book. And then EDSA is a simple counting book, but the illustrations are very striking. They're very emotion-provoking. I actually was a little bit teary-eyed when I first read this. And I also highly recommend this, especially if you have artsy kids. If you have artists, I have an artist, and the illustration are visually striking for me. I highly recommend this. Do not it's a counting book. It's like at first glance you might read this to a younger child, but I recommend against that. So read it when your child is older, like 8-9 years old. Isang Harding Papel is a little bit of a heartbreaking story, but it has a happy ending. It tells the story of, I think her name is Jenny, and her mom was in prison during the martial law time, and she visited the prison every week with her grandma. The Magic Arrow. Oh, we should learn about Benigno Aquino first, and then The Magic Arrow is a story inspired by Benigno Aquino's life. And then Ako ang Bayan. These go hand in hand in my opinion. Ako ang Bayan makes the child aware that he is part of the bayan, that lahat tayo ay ang bayan, that what one person does affects another person, and so on. So if there's bad things going on, it affects everyone. If there are good things going on, it also affects everyone. And then Mga Uring Panlipunan is also another good book to have. I'm actually excited for my son to read this. This is the last book that we will tackle in Phil Hist grade 5. And it tells about the different classes in society. And I will be able to teach my child a lot of life lessons, life skills using this book. So, that's it for our Philippine history curriculum, grade 5. And I'm so excited. I'm very thankful to my friend. Shout out to you for sending me that list. She has more books in the list, but I'll probably use them for grade 6. This is what I feel is appropriate for us now, because my son is 8. He's 9 years old. He's incoming grade 5. And he's twice exceptional. So adjust your curriculum according to your child's skills and reading level and comprehension level. So, for the surprise, I have these books. So I have the Adarna books. There, I have the Adarna books on offer, for sale. And usually the regular price of the whole bundle, wait, I'm gonna show you the whole bundle. So great lives, and then this one, and then this one. It's the Hanan. Okay, the whole thing costs regularly 1,773 pesos. That's the regular price from Adarna and from, I don't know, from Shopee or wherever, from the bookstore. But if you're a member of Homeschool Resources Philippines, I will only this book set will only cost 1,600. So you get a discount. If you're not a member of Homeschool Resources Philippines yet, I highly recommend that you join. Please do answer all of the questions, because you will be automatically denied if you do not answer the questions. Okay? So I have 2 sets available. And if you want to tackle Philippine history like us, then I highly recommend getting this full set of books. And then, if you want to get the Tahanan books, the whole set of Tahanan books, you can head on over to Cairo Taiki, give them the promo code HRP, Homeschool Resources Philippines, so that they can give you 15% off the entire bundle. That's a lot of savings, guys, because these books, they rarely go on sale. These 2 sets of books, they rarely go on sale. And also, we have done the hard work for you. We've already arranged the books in chronological order, and I've already given you ideas on how you're going to discuss the books, how you're going to tackle them in your homeschool lessons. So, remember HRP, I will put the link below to our Facebook group. And in our Facebook group, I will also put the details. Okay? So, that's it, you guys. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the books. And I hope I was able to inspire you to homeschool, motivate you to make your own curriculum. It's a little bit of hard work, but it's very, very rewarding. I promise you. And you'll also learn a lot. And it's also good to learn something new every day, right? So thank you guys for listening to me for almost 25 minutes. I'm sorry this has taken so long. But please like this video and also subscribe if you want more tips in your homeschooling. Thank you guys. Bye!